Hi, and welcome to another Type with me. In this episode, I'm going to talk about what can you put in a CSS variable. So if you ever asked yourself what you can put into it, well, I'm going to discuss all the different options right here in this video. So first of all, I'm going to put some variables into the root here of our CSS, right? So whatever you do, you can very easily put your CSS variables there. You could also put them into other CSS tags, but it's very common to do so, so I can advise you to do so as well. And then, of course, we can start using them. And by doing that, we can very easily create here, for example, padding. And then we do var. Then, of course, we can say that we want to have nice padding, right? So we put them here. Same with font size. And here I'm gonna say that I want to have decent font size. All right. So to declare your CSS variables, you need to do it like this. You just declare your variables right here, and you give them some kind of value. Your CSS variable always need to start with dash dash. So if you just do dash blah, that's not okay, right? You'll see here that when we are trying to do that, for example here, and I want to do something like this. Yeah, it's not working, and also here you see it in Visual Studio Code that is not happy with that, so that's not okay. If I do it like this, then he is happy, then we can very easily say here blah, right? So here you already see different kind of definitions of our variables, right? So here we have just 20 px, which is 20 pixels, and here you have 1.25 RAM, right? And then here we have a string. So these are different kind of things that you can do with these variables. Of course, if you want to put blah into padding, you will see that it also is not going to work. Another thing that you can do with CSS variables is to calculate things. Like here, for example, if we want to calculate an aspect ratio of 4/3, well, then we can very easily do that by just calculating the image height. We do calc, which is the calculation function of CSS, right? And then we put here a variable, which is our image width, and that's this one. And then we say that we want to have 4/3 aspect ratio out of that. And then we can start using this image width and image height for our image, right? So I'm just going to put it right here so that we have everything available for us in our example, right? Great. Another great example is the following one, right? So we have a minimum and we have a maximum, and then we have a clamped font size. So here we can say clamp, which is also CSS function, and then we ask for minimum. Then we say here what the viewport is, so width 2.5 viewport, and then we have here our maximum, right? And then, of course, for me it's important to say that we want to have that in H1. So here I'm gonna do H1 again, and then we have your font size, and then we have here our variable clamp font size. So if you want to have some fluctuation between a minimum and a maximum, and then set something of your viewport, well, then you can very easily use this clamped font size. If you want to know a little bit more about it, well, the Mozilla website is a very good website to check out. This is a website. Here you find some more info about the clamp function, right? And then of course here you can very easily say, okay, I want to see what this is. Okay, I want to see what this is, or I want to see what this is, right? So you can very easily play a little bit along with it. Like you say here, clamp CSS function clamps a value between an upper and a lower bound. It's also very nice to see which kind of CSS function notations there are, or I think, I don't know. So that are things that you can very easily do so. So check out their website and you find a lot of nice information about it. For example, here the attributes CSS function is also another one that you need to check out. A lot of new functionalities with these CSS functions and CSS variables are available and will make your life much easier. So another thing that you can do here is, for example, put the following thing. It's a very obnoxiously big number, right? And then of course you could very easily do something like this, z index, and then of course again the variable. So just to say that you don't need to have something after 1 or 4 or whatever, right? So imagine that we just have nice padding, right, which is just 20. Then you can very easily add your pixels or your other kind of units after that. And for me, that's a very nice and good example of how you should do it, because then of course you can reuse a lot of these CSS variables in your code, and then you just apply something like this. You calculate what is just the number together with the unit, right? So in CSS you sometimes have things like this, right? You have bullets or you have casing, and then these are just properties that you need to set, and you can very easily put them also into CSS variables, of course. And then you just apply them like these, right? So you put them here we go, into your UL, and you say that list style type is bullets, or you say that your text transform is casing, and then you can very easily define them and reuse them for your application. So something else that I want to show you is the strings, right? How can you use them and what is so powerful about them, right? So here we have something as followed. We have an open, we have a close, right? And then we have our heading hint, and then we can just define here a string. Then we define here our variable, right? Then again, the rest of the string, and then our close. It's very important, I think, to do it with this, right? Because we want to have some space between our content and what we want to put next to it, right? So here, the link hint, we put it after our a, right? We can put here our attribute href. So if we, for example, define an a here in our HTML, and we are going to do so. So here is an a, and then we do something like href, and I'm just going to use Google right? Just to show you, it's a little example, right? Well, then you will see, of course, that he puts content next to A. So here we go, we have Google, and then we have here our link hint, which is what is in the href attribute of our A. So that's something very nice, I suppose. It's something very new also for me. I just discovered it, and I think it's a very powerful and nice thing to know about. So that's that. String variables in CSS. So another thing that you can put into a CSS variable is an URL, right? So here we just put data image SVG plus XML variable in it, and it's just a definition of an SVG directly into your HTML. But you could, for example, also very easily use a URL to an image and then put it into a CSS variable. These things are all possible, but also straightforward in my opinion. Another thing that you also could do is shorthands. So for example, this one, it's just a shorthand, right? A lot of CSS variables next to each other, or just a top padding, right? Something you can very easily define. Of course, you can then very easily put it right here, padding for top padding, right? Or if you say, yeah, I don't want to use it like this, I just want to use all padding, you can very easily do it like this, right? You can, of course, very easily do something like weight and size, and then you can put something in here in the body where you say that our font size needs to be weight and size. We're going to divide it by 1.25. That's something you can very easily do so. And then we can just put something like sans serif after it, and it will accept it, right? I'm just going to remove this one because this is not helping there. And then I'm going to show you how it looks like within the browser. So if I'm going to refresh it, you will see that he just adjusted it to the new font definition and body, right? So like we saw before, we can very easily define multiple things within a CSS variable, right? So if you want to do something like this for our shadows or our multi-shadows, or we want to define gradient colors, we can very easily do so as well. And then we just define it right here. We define our A and our B, and we can do something like this, right? We can say, okay, we have a box shadow and we have another box shadow next to it, or we have multiple shadows, right, defined within our box shadow. We can very easily do it like this. Of course, we can also define colors, right? We saw it already here with the gradient colors. You can very easily use and define colors there as well. Just by defining a hex code here, and within Visual Studio Code we can very easily just adjust the color or search or right color that we want, right? Oh, and just one last thing, if you are still with me, right, is this one. It's colors like red, green, and blue. We can very easily define them right this on this way, right? And then, for example, if we go right here in the after, as a hint, we can just very easily define the color right here with RGB, red, green, blue, and then we can put the right variables there. So that's another kind of thing to do so. So I just give you a lot of options how you could use CSS variables. I hope you learned something from it. There are some insights, some things are straightforward, I know, but for this video I just want to have them all in them. in this right video to be complete, right? So thank you very much to be with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and so on. Thank you very much for your support. I hope you enjoyed it. Great next year, of course, and bye.